there's a couple of different things that I haven't touched on is these icons, this little screen and these little documents over here. The screen represents that there is a video deposition tied to here, and you can go ahead and open that up in theater mode. So I could open this up in theater mode. I could hit play and just have it start running, but I don't want to do that. You can select the different clips that you want to use that you've already created. In this case, only the plaintiff initial, the ones that we'd already created, where we could jump to here.
Yeah. Can you describe the atmospheric conditions at the time of the incident?
And this is kind of cool that you can just jump to those specific points in time of these videos. So I'm going to close out of that. But then these 8 down here, this is going to show that there are 8 documents linked to this transcript. And generally, these are going to be exhibits. So if this was an LEF file, these 8 exhibits would have already been added in here to this document when you imported them. But I want to show you how you can do it manually as well. So let's click into Dawn M. Patterson and show you what these related documents look like. So here's Patterson Deposition Exhibit 1. If I click on it, it takes me to everywhere that has been mentioned, which right now we can see that this is the exhibits index is the first time that it is mentioned on page, was that 2? And let's see if I click on it again, it takes me to page 71 where it's first mentioned. And so you're also going to be able to, if you click on the link within the actual transcript, it's going to take you to what that exhibit actually is. And I mean, you can look at this, but it honestly is pretty easy to tell based on the transcript that this is going to be a director of nursing job description marked for identification as Patterson Deposition Exhibit 1. But if you needed to, you can click on it and see, okay, well, what does that registered nurse director job description look like? And you could get some more details on it. So that's what it looks like when, and you can also click on this arrow next to any of them to open that same document if you chose to do it that way. But that is how this is merged within here so that you can link to specific documents within the transcript when you're mentioning them. If you did not have this done, I want to show you how you can do this manually on your own time if you chose to do so, because I think that it's very helpful as well. So let's go back into Elizabeth Patrick. And let's go ahead and relate them. You can see that there's 0 related documents in here, but there are exhibits that were mentioned in this deposition. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click down here. You have the choice of importing or relating a folder. I recommend relating the folder so that you can have all of those documents already organized. Like I said, I've kind of already got some stuff set up in this database, kind of like a cooking show. I don't want to show you everything of how to like go from scratch. But what I would recommend is just creating folders with your exhibits already in them so you can link them together all at one time. And so let me actually go back and show you where I have this. Documents, I've got a folder called Elizabeth Patrick Deposition Exhibits that I've already created. And so I can link those at the same time. Granted, it's only 2 documents, but I'm going to go ahead and relate and say, let's relate Elizabeth Patrick Deposition Exhibits and hit submit, refresh, and it should say that there are 2 related documents now. Now, if I look at this Patrick Deposition Exhibit 1, Patrick Deposition Exhibit 2, but I click on this, it's going to say no links found in the document because it doesn't automatically link. What we're going to need to do is click on this pencil and then type in what we want it to recognize. Like whenever this string of words or single word or phrases shows up, that is what it's going to identify and say this is it's then going to hyperlink that text to whatever this image or whatever this exhibit is, which if we click on this, shows us a little diagram of like a crossing. And so what we're going to do is find how it's mentioned in here. You can search for what you're looking for. You can say maybe exhibit 1, and it will show you where you can find this information. So let's go ahead, jump to page 2. Look, here's the exhibit index, and it says exhibit 1. So what I'm going to want to do is go to those two related documents and exhibit 1. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say exhibit 1. And you can link the text 1 per line. So if I wanted to create multiple, maybe I wanted to say EX1 as well, if that was mentioned there, or illustration of intersection. And then when I hit make edits and then click on it, okay, it takes me to the different places. It hyperlinks me to the different places where this shows up. So here is exhibit 1. And you can click on it and it takes you there. What does exhibit 1 represent? It is an illustration of an intersection, Elston and Armitage. Some good Chicago streets. But what I want to show you here is if I click on this edit again, you'll see illustration of intersection. Why isn't it matching when I say illustration of intersection here? It's because it's not an exact match. It has to be an exact match, illustration of the intersection. So if I were to type the in here, then it would be good to go. But when I click back here, you'll see that illustration of intersection is hyperlinked. So just know that whatever you type in here is going to show up for that document. And so like, if I were to say weather in here, and then I hit make edits, is weather not a word in here? Let me find a word that I know is in here. Matter. Make edits. And then I click on this. Do I need to refresh this? There we go. It takes me to wherever it says matter, but just because it says matter doesn't mean that it has anything to do with this document, with this exhibit. So just make sure you're doing it wisely. But that's how you would go about linking exhibits within your transcripts if you had to do that manually, if you did not have that all-star, gold star, LEF file type.